Om Sahana Bhavatu, Sahana Bhunakatu, Sahaviryankara Vavahai, Tejasvinada Ditamastu Mavidavishavahai, Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Okay. So, in the last class, we discussed a bit about, Arishta Bhanga. Okay. And Arishta Bhanga is the cancellation of Balarishta. Okay. So Balarishta, as I had made the analogy, it acts like some kind of a missile. Okay. But Arishta Bhanga acts as an anti-missile. Okay. And in the presence of Arishta Bhanga, a Balarishta will get neutralized. Okay. So even if there is a, even if there is a very potent Arishta or Balarishta in the chart, you must find out ways to identify Arishta Bhanga combinations. Okay. So what you must appreciate or what you must acknowledge is, if you're looking for Arishta Bhanga, it means, there you are, as a practicing astrologer, you are presupposing the existence of Arishta in the first place. Okay, that means, there is some kind of affliction in the chart and you are looking for its calculation. Okay. Now there are thousands of combinations indicating Balarishta and Arishta Bhanga, which are available in several astrological texts. Okay, but it's not practical to remember all those combinations. So what we'll do is we'll try to understand the underlying astrological principles. Okay, just give me a second. Okay, so if we look at the, I think I'm being clear now. Am I being audible? Okay. So, we have to understand which planet is the Karaka for the body. Okay. It is the moon. Okay. Don't think that moon is only the Karaka for Manas. It is also the Karaka for the body. Okay. So you have to, to understand Arishta Bhanga, you have to look at the disposition of the moon. Okay. And this disposition has a very important bearing on the health of a newborn baby. Okay. So if the moon is afflicted or ill-placed, then, it is a factor causing Balarishta. So, if the moon is afflicted, if the moon is afflicted by planets like Saturn or Rahu or Ketu, and if it has no benefic influence, coming in, then it can be a severe cost of Arishta. Okay. And I've also seen that, one of the predominant causes of Arishta is a premature birth. Okay. That is, that is one of the major causes. All right. Just hold on. Yeah, my wife forgot to add sugar in that tea. Okay. So, as I said, the moon, if someone is having a premature birth, then the moon will be pretty much weak, because the human body is not designed to come out of the mother's womb before 9 months. Okay. So while looking at the causes of affliction of the moon, you must ask the client, is it a premature birth? And if it is actually a premature birth, if the baby is born anytime before 9 months, you must assume that the moon is afflicted. Okay. This is a very important condition. No astrological text would mention this, but I'm just telling you this by my personal experience. If it is a premature birth, you will presuppose that the moon is receiving affliction. Okay. Then you have to look at the strength of the Lagna. Okay. So if the Lagna Lord is strong and well placed, it indicates sound health. Okay. Now, by well placed, by strong, I mean, it must be influenced by benefics, or it must be in a friend's house. All right. Yeah, but nowadays people plan sometimes before due date due to some reasons. Yeah, those are just ignorant fools. Okay. I've seen people come to me for C-section deliveries telling me to set an important date for the delivery to take place. People think that, they are wise enough to manipulate the planets, which is not the case. Okay. Those are just ignorant fools. Okay. As practicing astrologers never recommend any, C-section timings, which people often come to astrologers. Yes, I have seen people come to me for that, and I have never done that. Okay. And I would recommend every one of you to not indulge in that as well. Okay. Now, the Lagna Lord is always strong if it is retrograde. Okay. No matter wherever it is placed, if the Lagna Lord is retrograde, it is super strong. Okay. And the Lagna Lord is super weak if it is combust. Okay. These are the two conditions. You have to look at the strength of the Lagna and the Lagnesh. And then, the Lagna Lord should not be under malefic influence. Okay. So what if the Lagna Lord itself is a malefic? In that case, just see. Debilitated is not a big problem, okay, because if it is debilitated in the Rashi, but it acquires strength in the Navamsha, it's good. All right. So what if the Lagna Lord, the condition, the astrological condition is the Lagna Lord should not be afflicted by malefics. Okay. So what if the Lagna Lord is like Saturn or Mars, which in itself indicates that the nature is malefic? In that case, see that the Lagna Lord is not afflicted by functional malefics in the chart. Okay, for example, for Capricorn Lagna, Jupiter is a functional malefic. Okay, so since Jupiter is the 12th lord and the 3rd lord for Capricorn Lagna, and if it is having some kind of relationship with Saturn, then you will say that Saturn is afflicted. Okay, unfortunately, it is in Dushtana in D9. Okay, be very careful in using that word unfortunate. Okay, you never know. I've seen a bad astrological condition being a lifesaver in some cases. Okay, so there is a reason why you get these combinations. But don't use the word fortunately or unfortunately. There is nothing called fortunate or unfortunate. Okay, everything is a combination, and you need to get the best out of that combination, no matter how difficult it is. All right. Then we have to look at the kendras. So, if the kendras are occupied by benefics, then it is a strong factor that indicates good health. Okay. If malefics are occupying the kendra, then the health suffers. But then here is an exception. If malefics are in the kendras, then for them not to. Is there a video problem? I think only Bikong is facing it. Others, is there a video problem? No. Okay. Bikong, you look at your internet connection. It could be some problem there. Yeah. Okay. So as I said, the benefics should be the kendras should house the benefics. Okay. And if by benefics I mean natural benefics. Okay. And if there are malefics in kendras, then you ensure that they must be debilitated. Okay. Okay, so if there are malefics, if the kendras are occupied by malefics, for health not to suffer, they must be debilitated. Okay, so that is another condition. All right, and then the 8th lord is pretty much important. Okay, because that is the villain in the chart. Okay, so if the 8th lord has benefic influences, or if the 8th house contains benefics, then it is an indicator of good health. For example, Venus in the 8th house can indicate longevity. Okay, nodes in kendra not good. Okay, nodes in kendra is not good. They can all of a sudden result in in diseases, or they can also result in diseases that are difficult to diagnose. Okay, but you don't have to worry, Bikong. You are well past that Balarishta stage. Okay, you are not a child anymore. You're just doing this for kids who are who have not yet attained 12 years of age. Okay. So if there are malefic influences on the 8th house, or if the 8th house is malefic, then if a malefic planet is contained in the 8th house, then also health suffers. Okay. Now, Venus in the 8th house it indicates a strong ability to recover from any kind of diseases. Okay. Saturn in the 8th house indicates longevity, because Saturn is the karaka for longevity. 8th house is the house of longevity. So Saturn in the 8th house indicates longevity, but that longevity is often painful. Okay, it's like a cancer patient who has been reduced to a vegetative state in the bed for almost, for almost say 10 years or maybe 20 years. All right. So I've seen a patient, he had come to me for Siddha Yoga healing. That patient had cancer, okay, in the spine. And while removing the tumor, some nerves got cut and he has been reduced to a vegetative state. So what has happened is the tumor is gone. So he does not have cancer anymore, but he has been reduced to vegetable at the age of 42. Okay, so it's a big problem. Sun in the 8th house is good. Okay, Sun in the 8th house is good actually, because Sun is the karaka for health. It is the original karaka for health. Okay, so it brightens up the 8th house, right? Wherever the sun sits, it brightens up the 8th house. Okay, vegetable, vegetable, I mean, not being able to move his hands or feet. Okay, paralyzed. Okay, obviously vegetable to nahi banega. How will he become a vegetable, right? Vegetative state, I meant. Okay, and then you have to look at the dasha and the transit. Yes, so a combination that is there in the birth chart, it has to be confirmed by the dasha. Otherwise, it's not going to work. Okay, so again, you have to look at the transits, where and when Saturn is transiting. Okay, transit of Saturn plays a big role in determining health and longevity. Okay, especially if Saturn is transiting the I think connection issue is only at your end, Meena Chi. Okay, I don't think others are having it, because my internet is working fine. But anyways, we are dealing with Balarishta. So, even the planets would not want you to, understand death. Okay, it's a very difficult part. Okay, whenever we speak death, it's very difficult to, to get it correct, to get it right all the time. Anyways, the recordings would be available, so you don't have to worry about it. Okay. Yeah, so the transit of Saturn in the 8th house, that can be, really, really excruciatingly painful if you have bad combinations in the chart. Saturn can activate everything. Okay. Even the transit of Mars in the Lagna, that can be really, really bad. Okay. So, sometimes the weaknesses that are indicated by the Balarishta combinations, they manifest sometimes later in life. It's not only about, manifesting at the age of 12 or before the age of 12. It can, even Saturn, if Saturn is Yoga Karaka, because Saturn is a malefic. Okay, to begin with, a planet, even if it is getting assigned the job of a Yoga Karaka, it will not shed its nature. Okay, a snake never sheds its skin. So planet will never lose its original nature. Okay, so even if it is Yoga Karaka, even if it is for Lagna, okay, even if it is a Lagna Lord, basically. All right. So now we look at some classical combinations for Balarishta. Okay, so this is we are just diverting a bit into medical astrology. Okay, but anyways, we have to understand the numerous combinations for Arishta that are described in the astrological classes. Okay, classics, not classes. All right, and I've taken most of them from the BPHS and the Jataka of Varaha Mihira. Okay, and there are also a few combinations I have listed from Sri Ranveer Jyotir Mahani Bandha. Okay, I forgot the name of the book. Okay, my Guruji has it. Okay, Sri Ranveer Jyotir Mahani Bandha. That is the book. All right. Now, the disclaimer. Okay. The classical authors have used the word death. Okay, don't take that word literally. Okay. In the context of Balarishta, death can also mean affliction, major affliction, or even major illnesses. Okay, so what are the combinations? And I'm just quoting it. Okay, I'm just quoting what the authors have mentioned. Okay, so I'll be giving you the exceptions as well. Okay, the first major combination that is mentioned in the Jataka of Varaha Mihira as well as in the BPHS is that The moon should not be located in the Dushthanas. That means it should not go into the, and I'm only about D1. Okay. If I speak about D9, I'll mention it. Okay. These conditions are only for D1. Don't confuse it that he is also speaking for D9. No, only for D1. So if the moon is located in the 6th, 8th, and 12th houses and is also aspected by at least 2 malefics, then it causes death soon after birth. This is what Parashara says. Okay. But then the exceptions are, given such a condition, okay, given such a condition, if the moon is located in 6, 8, or 12 houses and is aspected by 2 or more malefics, okay, remember the word aspect, not conjunction. Okay. If a benefic is aspecting it, then death will not occur. Okay. And similarly, if there is no other malefic affliction on the moon, even if the moon is located in 6, 8, or 12, then also there is no, there is no occurrence of death. That is what Parashara says in his exceptions. Okay. Now, secondly, this is by Varaha Mihira. He says that retrograde benefics, if placed in the Dushthanas and are also aspected by malefics, then death is certain. Okay. If the retrogrades are benefic, okay, that means Mercury, then Venus or Jupiter. If they are benefic, if they are retrograde and then placed in 6 or 8 or 12 houses and also aspected by malefics, then it can cause death. Okay. But then, the exception is that in such a condition of the retrograde, of the benefic retrogrades being placed in 6, 8, or 12 houses, if the lagna is, if the lagna or the lagnesh is aspected by a benefic graha, then there is no death. Okay. 2 or more malefics, including nodes. Yeah, it could be including nodes. Okay. The exception is that if the lagna or the lagnesh is aspected by a benefic, then this condition will not fructify. Okay. So if you're taking notes, it's good. If you're not, then go through this video, once or twice so that you can understand the exceptions. Okay. Because I've seen that the exceptions work well in most of the cases. Okay. Then if the birth is happening at the time of sunrise or sunset in Chandrahora, okay, or in Gandanta. Okay, what is Gandanta? Gandanta is the interaction point between the fire signs and the water signs. So the ending of the signs Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces, or the beginning of the signs Aries, Leo, and or Sagittarius. Okay, if the moon is located in those areas, all right, if the moon is located in those areas, or if birth has taken place during sunrise or sunset, in Chandrahora, okay, and one or more malefic is located in the kendras, then it can indicate death. Okay. Degree wise, we have to check. Degree wise, I did not get you, Twinkleji. What degree wise of what? Yeah. There are certain the Gandanta degrees are mentioned. Okay, you can just surf the net, see what the Gandanta degrees are, and see if the moon is placed in those degrees. Okay. So again, giving you the condition for your, for your information. If the moon is, if the birth has taken place at sunrise or at sunset during Chandrahora, or if the moon is placed in Gandanta, and there is at least, one or more retrograde which is placed in a kendra, then it can cause death. Okay. This condition is nullified. Okay, this condition is nullified if the moon is aspected by 2 benefics. Okay, more than 1 benefic. This condition is nullified if the moon is aspected by more than 1 benefic. Okay. Shannon says, well, I dodged a bullet. Yeah. So, it was really, it's damn close, right? All right. Then what Parashara says, what else Parashara says? Parashara says, if the Lagna Lord gets involved in a Graha Yuddha and is defeated in the Graha Yuddha by a malefic, Okay, and is also positioned in the seventh house. Then it leads to death. Okay, then it leads to death. And what is Graha Yuddha? This is a very simple condition. Don't mess it up. Okay, Graha Yuddha is a condition when two planets are located within 1 degree. Okay, and the one which is of greater degree, that planet is defeated. Okay, that planet is defeated. For example, say Mars and Saturn, Mars at 19 degrees, Saturn at 19.5 degrees are in Graha Yuddha. So Saturn will be considered defeated. Okay, so there is no combination, there is no rejection of this combination. Okay, this is very, very important. All right, there is no there is no rejection. The Parashara has not mentioned any kind of rejection. The condition again I'm mentioning, if the Lagna Lord is involved in a Graha Yuddha with a malefic and then is getting defeated by that malefic and is also placed in the seventh house. So both these three conditions have to be satisfied. Number one, it has to be involved in a Graha Yuddha. Number two, just a Graha Yuddha is not enough. The Graha Yuddha has to happen with a malefic. And number three, that defeated planet, that Lagna Lord which is defeated, it has to be, it has to be placed in the seventh house for death to happen. Okay. And then if all the fifth condition is, if all the malefics, Mars, Saturn, Rahu, Ketu, are placed in the kendras along with the moon in one of the kendras, then also it can cause death. Okay, if all the malefics are placed in kendras and along with the moon, in one of the kendras, then also death happens. The exception is the moon must be aspected by a benefic. Okay, that is the exception. Okay, and then there is a very peculiar condition mentioned by the great Varaha Mihira. This is known as this is known as Vajra Mushti Yoga. Okay, Vajra Mushti Yoga, and this is applicable only in case of Cancer ascendant or Scorpio ascendant. Okay, so in case of, just listen to it. Okay, in case of Cancer or Scorpio ascendant, if all the malefics are placed in the eastern half means between houses 10 to 4, and all the benefics are placed in the western half of the chart, that means in houses 4 to 10, then death can happen. Okay, this is Vajra Mushti Yoga, and this is applicable only for Cancer or Scorpio rising. Okay, all right. Then if the moon is either placed in 4, 7 or 4th, 7th or 8th house or in the first house and is hemmed between malefics. Okay, if the moon is in Papkartari Yoga while placed in 4, 7, 4th, the first house, the 4th house, the 7th house or the 8th house, then also it can lead to death. Okay, again there is no cancellation of this condition. Okay, the moon in Papkartari Yoga placed in the first house or the 4th house or the 7th house or the 8th house can lead to early death. Okay, just give me a couple of minutes. I will be back with the other conditions. All right. Then the next condition is, if the moon is in Lagna and is aspected by 2 or more malefics in the 7th house. Okay, this is very specific. The moon in Lagna being aspected by 2 or more malefics in the 7th house can lead to early death. Okay, again there is no cancellation of this condition. Okay, is it true that Venus never gets defeated? No, it's not true. Okay, Venus can get defeated. Why not? This is mythological because people think that Venus has access to the Mahamrityunjay mantra. So Venus will not get defeated. Okay, that is not correct. Then if Saturn is retrograde in Aries or Scorpio, in the 6th or the 8th house, or in a Kendra, and is aspected by a strong Mars, then it leads to death. Saturn being retrograde in Aries or Scorpio, in the 6th or the 8th house, or in a Kendra, and being aspected by a strong Mars. Okay. So again, there is no, exception to this condition. Okay. Be very, very clear about the exceptions. Okay. Be absolutely clear about the exceptions. All right. Then the moon in Lagna, Saturn in the 12th house, Sun in the 9th house, Mars in the 8th house with a weak Jupiter leads to death, early death. Moon in Lagna, Saturn in the 12th house, Sun in the 9th house, Mars in the 8th house, and weak Jupiter. So all these 5 conditions have to be simultaneously satisfied. Okay, just don't look at one condition and jump about up and down saying that, oh my God, I've discovered a cause of death or discovered a possible cause of Arishta. No, it's not correct. Okay, all these 5 conditions have to be satisfied. All right. Then Mars, Saturn, and the Sun. Okay, together in the 6th or the 8th house will lead to death. Mars, Saturn, and Sun, a combination of Mars, Saturn, and Sun in the 6th house or the 8th house will lead to death. Okay. The exception is if this combination happens in Cancer. Okay. Because if it happens in Cancer, then Saturn is no longer Saturn. It has become Yamaraj. Okay, and this Yamaraj will actually protect the native. Okay, so the blessings of Saturn will protect the native. Or in Kendra, I did not get the question because you said in Kendra, which condition? Okay, so Mars, Saturn, or Sun together in the 6th or the 8th house. Okay, can lead to early death, but the exception is if this combination happens in Cancer, then this thing does not work. Okay. Then a malefic in the 6th or the 8th house aspected by another malefic. Okay, a malefic in the 6th or the 8th house aspected by another malefic. Okay, this is another combination for death. The exception is that malefic which is in the 6th or the 8th house has to be aspected by a benefic. Okay. Again, Venus in Cancer or Leo in the 6th or the 12th house aspected by at least 2 malefics can lead to early death. Venus in Cancer or Leo in the 6th or the 12th house aspected by malefics, aspected by at least 2 or more malefics can cause death. All right. Mercury in Cancer in the 6th or the 8th house aspected by the moon. Mercury in Cancer in the 6th or the 8th house aspected by the moon. So there is no exception to this. Okay. This is also known as Kirmi Yoga. Okay. Kirmi Yoga means yoga of insects. All right. So if Mercury is in Cancer or if the moon is placed in mercurial signs, some parts of your, you will have issues with your skin. You'll have issues with your blood. Okay. It is known as Kirmi Yoga. All right. Then Rahu in a Kendra aspected by 2 or more malefics. Rahu in a Kendra aspected by 2 or more malefics can lead to early death. The exception is that Rahu must be aspected by Jupiter. Okay, if the Rahu is aspected by Jupiter, then there is no issue. All right. Then this is from the D3. Okay, all these conditions that I mentioned, these were from D1. Okay, now I'm mentioning, thank God, that's why I'm alive. Okay, now I'm mentioning, D3. Okay, if the D3 is rising with a malefic Dracana, okay, if the D3 is rising with a malefic Dracana and that lagna of D3 is aspected or associated with malefics and is not aspected by the own lagna lord, then it can cause early death. So 3 conditions. The D3 has to rise with a malefic trikana. Number 2, that lagna, okay, that lagna of D3, which is a malefic trikana, must be associated or aspected by malefics. That means by 2 or more malefics. That is the second condition. And third condition is the lagna lord should not look at the lagna. Okay, in that case, it can lead to early death. Okay, and what are the malefic trikanas? There are 2 types of malefic trikanas. One is known as the sarpa trikana. Okay, sarpa trikana is the second and the third half of Cancer, and the first or the second, the first or the second half of Scorpio, and the last part of Meena, the last part of Pisces. That is sarpa trikana. The second and the third half of Cancer, the first half and the second half of Scorpio, and the last half of Pisces. Then there is something called Pasha Trikana, which is also malefic. Pasha Trikana is the first of, the first part of Taurus or Leo or Aquarius. The second or third Trikana, the second or the third part of, of Libra, or the first and the last part of Capricorn. Okay, that is Pasha Trikana. Okay, so these are malefic trikanas. All right, just correlate this with whatever I mentioned here. Right. Then if the birth is happening during an eclipse, okay, if the birth is happening during an eclipse, that means sun is with Rahu or the moon is with Ketu. Okay, now the sun with Ketu and the moon with Rahu, it makes no sense. The sun has to be with Rahu and the moon has to be with Ketu in this condition. Okay, and the lagna is aspected by Saturn or Mars, it can cause certain death. Okay, I've seen this manifesting. Okay, this condition I've seen manifesting. Okay, birth during the time of solar or lunar eclipse, sun with Rahu or moon with Ketu, and then the lagna being aspected by Saturn and Mars. Okay, then the last condition is Rahu in the 7th house aspected by the sun and the moon and not aspected by any other benefic. Okay, Rahu in the 7th house aspected by the sun and the moon and not by any other benefic, that can also lead to early death. Okay, so these are some of the very severe conditions that have been mentioned as causes of Balarishta. Okay, just go over this video again and try to correlate your charts with those of those of and try to see it. Okay, the only downfall of learning this is every time you see a chart, now you will be looking at is there a condition of Balarishta? Is there a condition of Balarishta? Can I see a condition of Balarishta? Don't do that. Don't allow yourself to do that. Okay, so in the next class, we'll be looking at some common afflictions to the mother. Okay, how how the mother, how some planetary combinations based on the child's horoscope can cause death or problems to the mother. Okay, but before we wrap up, I just want to share something. Okay, so we'll be starting with something called Satyam Shivam Sundaram. Okay, it's a class that will combine the learnings of astrology, yoga, as well as tantra together. Okay, so it'll be a 3-in-1 course. Of course, the course has been announced to a few people who have been associated with me for a long time. Okay, but just want to share this in the class and also about the orientation program that we'll be having. Okay, just give me a second. Okay, so this is the course. Okay, Satyam Shivam Sundaram. All right, and we are having the orientation on the 26th of February 2023. We were supposed to have it today, but then I have to take part in a ritual or a havan, which starts around 11 p.m. tonight. So I did not, take the burden of doing it today. So we'll be having the orientation on the 26th of February, 2023, and this is going to be free for everyone. Okay, so the orientation class is for free, and the batch will start from the 12th of March, 2023. Okay, Satyam Shivam Sundaram. I have named it as Truth, Beauty, and Godliness. Okay, so this is a flagship program. Okay, this is a flagship program offered by Jyotish 108 under my tutelage. And for those who know, I've been working as a Vedic astrologer as well as a Siddha healer. I have not mentioned myself as a tantric because people get afraid when they hear that word. Okay, so I've been working for the last 10 plus years. Okay, and this is a program which I believe will be your gateway to your happiness, health, and abundance. Okay, so what you will learn. Okay, so I'll be teaching you the secret of death. Then we'll be going through, going to Mahakala and his grace of protection. So here you'll get a infallible method that will protect you no matter whatever your condition is. That means, once you learn this Mahakala, the method of Mahakala, you will not die under any unnatural circumstances. Okay, you will not die under any kind of accident. You will not die even if someone tries to shoot you with a bullet. Okay, you get this rare power of protection, this gift of protection from Shiva himself. Okay, then we will be going into the planets in great detail. We'll be looking at the sun, and we're looking at it through Satya, the method of Satya. And with the sun, we'll be trying to, will be the tantra will happen with the Surya Kriya, which is your prosperity quotient. Okay, so this is about attracting anything that you want with regards to material prosperity. Then we will look at understanding the moon, which is called Saucha. Okay, the method is called Saucha. And you will get a Chandra Kriya, which is your certainty quotient. Okay, how you can work with the moon. We will get the link here only for the orientation. Yes, ma'am, you have to be in the group. Okay, the Jyotish 108 group. I have not shared it in the group. I'll be sharing it from tonight. Okay, so we'll not have the regular class on next Sunday. We will be having the orientation. Okay. And then you have to look at understanding Mars, which is Brahmacharya, because Mars is regarded as the Brahmachari, and we have to understand what Brahmacharya is. Okay, I have been telling this regularly in my classes that Brahmacharya is not about no fap. Okay, you can be a married person and still be a Brahmachari. Okay, so I'll be revealing the practice which no one actually knows. Okay, Brahmacharya, the practice. These practices will enable you to master the planets. Okay. Then you have to understand Mercury, which is the highest karma of Mercury, ahimsa. Okay, many people don't know this. Okay, ahimsa. If you master ahimsa, you have solved your Mercury problem forever. Okay, you don't need to recite complex remedies like Vishnu Sahasranam or things like that. And there is this ahimsa kriya as well. Okay, then you have to understand Jupiter by using Santosha, and there is something called Tripura Kriya. Yeah, getting vegetarian, that is the most flop idea that I have seen people use, to understand Mercury. Okay. Tripura Kriya. Okay, so this will allow you to master the three lokas, heaven, earth, and the in between. Okay, so the sky, the earth, as well as the space in between. Okay, that is the mastery of the Tripura Kriya. All right, then you have to understand Venus, and for that the process is aparigraha. And here I'll be revealing the secret of Mrityunjaya. Okay, again, this is one big secret that no one actually knows, how to use the Mrityunjaya mantra and how to invoke the Mrityunjaya form of Shiva to heal yourself and others as well. Okay, then we'll try to understand Saturn by Swa Adhyaya. Matrika, this is the body of the Divine Mother. Okay, so we'll try to understand how you can invoke the Mother Goddess to get the blessings of Saturn, to master Saturn in a way. Then understanding Rahu, which is called Asteya. Asteya, the process is Asteya, and the the Kriya for mastering Rahu is called mirroring. So mirroring will enable you to attract the abilities of anyone that you look at. Okay, for example, once you learn mirroring, you can actually look at Elon Musk and take away all his abilities to get rich. What powers or what thinking processes does he have for getting rich? That is all about mirroring. Okay, then we have understanding Ketu, which is Ishvara Paridhana. And here we will learn about the bandhas. Okay, Ketu is all about realizing God within. Okay, and we will see how that God within us is seated. Okay, and why this program? Because you can master the Navagrahas by the use of yoga and tantra. And this is the catch that you'll have. Okay, once you complete the program, you will no longer need to do any planetary remedy ever. Okay, this is my personal guarantee, and I'll be accessible to you every time, either on WhatsApp or on call. Okay, so you can ping me anytime regarding your doubts and everything. All right, then obviously the end results will be mastering your health, emotion, finances, and satisfaction from all aspects of life. Okay, and finally be in complete control of your destiny. There is nothing called destiny, basically. Okay, this is all about creating your life the way you want. Okay, so this is the program. I'll just stop the sharing, and we will have the orientation next week at around at 8 o'clock as promised. Okay, so I'll address all the questions there during the orientation, and if you don't decide to come for the main program, which I'll announce, the details of which will be announced after the orientation, you'll still, I'll still give you something to take away during the orientation class, and that is going to remain with you forever. Okay, during the orientation, I'll teach you a very simple method for attaining the blessings of Mahalakshmi. Okay, and that is applicable for everyone, whether you come for this program, whether you don't come for this program, but I want you to get some value when you come to this orientation. So I'll be giving away that technique for free. Okay, so thank you so much for joining in. I will see you next Sunday with the orientation. Okay, and the Kala Sarpa class for last week, that means for yesterday, will happen this Tuesday. Okay, so I hope to see some of you there. All right, so thank you everyone. Namaste. Om Gurave Namaha.